When these two dogs were about to mate, another dog, Bull, jumped on top of the female dog and put himself in her position. Sterling, the male dog, didn't realize that he was now mounting another male instead of the female. In that painful, humiliating moment, Bull broke down and confessed his love for Honey. Sterling eventually finished.
Oh, Sterling! Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, Sterling.
And Bull quietly slipped away.
That was interesting. You're very tight. Or probably I'm so large. I hope my girth didn't hurt much. Not that I care. Okay, bye.
The film opens with a playful puppy named Bull, waiting patiently to be adopted. Soon enough, he is brought home by a loving family, who introduce him as the newest addition. Everyone embraces him warmly, showering the little dog with affection and care. Charmed by his innocence and cuteness, they dote on him endlessly. Fast forward 2 years, and Bull is no longer the innocent pup they once knew. He constantly mounts Nana whenever he gets the chance, enjoying it so much that he even moans her name.
Oh, Nana! Oh, you feel so good. Oh, right? Who doesn't love their Nana?
One day, Nana wakes up searching for her lipstick, but, by mistake, grabs Bull's private parts. Strangely, he doesn't mind. His owner storms in, immediately, furious, having warned Bull countless times to quit humping Nana. As Bull bolts, he gets a shock to his privates. Spotting the owner's child with ice cream, he jumps at it, pressing himself against the cold treat for relief. His owner catches him again, forcing him to sprint off. He stumbles along the way, yet his urges never stop. He even attacks his owner's wife's purse, thrusting against it wildly. Fleeing the chaos, Bull runs outside and encounters his neighbor, who happens to be his crush. Desperate to hide his escapades with Nana, he tries disguising his scent by attaching a pipe to his privates. Bad luck strikes when his owner turns on the tap. Water gushes out, splashing him in front of his love interest and embarrassing him completely. She advises him to quit messing with Nana, warning that it will only cause trouble. Bull admits Nana is irresistible, and he can't bring himself to stop. She even suggests he try using a frozen turkey, but he confesses he already has, and Thanksgiving has never been the same since. Changing the subject, he asks what she's up to, and she says she's practicing her elegant walk for an upcoming dog show. Bull boldly proposes they mate.
You are quite below my usual standards, but I am feeling generous, so you may partake in the royal penis.
And to his surprise, she accepts instantly, leaving him bewildered.
Oh my! Sis Studley, I would be honored. Shall we proceed?
Panicking, he dashes off to join his owner for a walk. Thrilled by the idea, he happily surrenders himself to be spoiled. Coincidentally, other neighborhood owners are out with their dogs too. Among them, one stands out. He moves with calm confidence, unlike the rest. Bull approaches him, sparking a conversation. The dog, Rocco, advises Bull to lick himself like other dogs rather than chase Nana. But Bull admits he dislikes his own taste and prefers Nana instead. Soon, Fetch joins the group, but the others warn him he can't stick around if he insists on behaving like a human, which they find degrading. They then meet Lucky, the oddball of the bunch, who munches on feces thinking it's a protein bar. Even after being told the truth, he keeps eating it as if it were gourmet. Eventually, they all head to Wiggly Field, the dog park, where canines gather for all sorts of antics, sniffing each other's behinds and chasing balls thrown by strangers. While there, they notice a dog sitting sadly by himself. Approaching him, they discover his name is Luther, and he bursts into tears, believing his owners no longer love him. When he turns around, they see why. He has just been neutered. He explains how it happened. After returning from the park one day, his family threw a party, lulled him to sleep, and took away his manhood. The group consoles him, assuring him they'll stand by his side. Another dog named Sterling arrives, but instead of showing sympathy, he ridicules Luther for losing his balls. In fact, Bull is the only one left intact. Rocco challenges Sterling for making fun, but Sterling keeps boasting and showing off how superior he thinks he is. Finally, Bull steps in, exposing Sterling's insecurities. The pack erupts in laughter, especially when Bull proudly flaunts his own manhood, claiming he's the real dog compared to Sterling's show dog persona. In the midst of this, two other dogs begin mating openly, unfazed by spectators. Soon after, owners start gathering their dogs to leave, leaving only Sterling and Honey behind. Sterling, curious, asks why Honey seems to like Bull. She brushes it off, saying he's simply her neighbor and that they've known each other forever. Yet her gaze lingers on Bull with unspoken admiration. Irritated, Sterling storms off. Back at home, Bull dreams of how much he despises Sterling when suddenly his family surprises him with endless affection. They let him indulge in everything normally forbidden, even rewarding him with treats after making a mess. For the ultimate reward, they allow him to dunk his head into the toilet. But then he recalls that this was the same sequence of events Luther described before being neutered. Alarmed, Bull realizes what's coming. Overcome with dread, he collapses onto the floor, rattled. The next day at the park, Bull sorrowfully explains to the pack that his owners plan to castrate him. Rocco urges him to relax, saying they survived it, and so can he. Overwhelmed, Bull rants hysterically, scaring the others. Seeing him spiral, they abandon him, comparing his arrogance to dogs who once mocked them for not having balls. Alone and crushed, Bull howls in despair. Honey hears his cries and confronts him. As he looks up, he's stunned by her beauty, momentarily forgetting his worries. Before he can confide in her, Honey's owner calls her away. Bull's owner then tosses him a ball to fetch, but Bull spits it out, putting on a pitiful face in hopes of changing his owner's mind. When his owner attempts to pet him but fails, he leaves him outside. Inspired by an ant struggling to move its food, Bull decides to rebel. He rips off his collar, declaring he'll now live on his own terms. Forcing his way out of the yard, he ventures to the city's edge. There, he admires his privates, even giving each of them special names. At first, the freedom excites him, but hunger soon strikes. He follows the scent of food to a nearby festival and dives into scraps. Things go well until he stumbles upon a car emitting strange fumes. He inhales deeply, but it burns his throat and he coughs violently. Staying too long in the smoke, Bull becomes intoxicated and realizes he's been inhaling skunk fumes, becoming high and delusional. He starts speaking nonsense. From the shadows, Honey appears, and Bull finally confesses his love to her. She licks his privates in return, yet it turns out she isn't real. When he snaps back to reality, he discovers it was actually rats licking him. Horrified, he chases them off and bolts away, nearly running into a butcher. The streets suddenly feel terrifying, filling him with fear. His hallucinations intensify, even imagining his privates asking him what his plan is to save them. Bull's precious balls decide to abandon him, believing he can't protect them. Determined, he sets off after them, promising he'll never let them come to harm. While chasing after them, he bumps into a cat, mistaking it for the thief holding his prized possessions, only to find out what he's been pursuing wasn't his at all. As he attempts to retreat, a group of cats surrounds him. Their leader, the Cat King, voices his long-standing hatred for dogs, reckless and unruly behavior, declaring it's time Bull learned a harsh lesson. With no escape in sight, Bull pretends to drop dead. A kitten sniffs him and confirms it seems real, but the Cat King, unconvinced, orders the little one to tear Bull's face apart to be certain. Before the order can be carried out, Bull's loyal pack arrives to rescue him. Overcome with mixed emotions, grateful they came for him yet guilty over the cruel words he once said, Bull apologizes to them sincerely. Suddenly, the cats began purring sweetly instead of attacking, leaving Bull suspicious of their intent. The dogs soon realized it was a trick, a hypnotic sound meant to lure them into vulnerability before unleashing fury. Just as the tension peaked, the cats abruptly stopped purring, their expressions hardening, and launched a vicious ambush. By sheer luck, the dogs managed to escape unharmed, feeling immense relief at surviving the ordeal. Bull, however, decided it was time to return home and confront his worst fear. But Rocco urged him to embrace his manhood while he still had it. Bull agreed, and together, they swore off the life of tame, obedient pets, choosing instead to live unleashed. Their rebellion began with storming a cafe to hunt down a squirrel they had been chasing. Rocco finally caught it, with Bull helping to rip it apart. Fetch felt remorseful about the brutal act, but the others reveled in it. Meanwhile, Lucky mistook a skunk for another squirrel and ended up wreaking havoc from the spray, dragging the foul odor everywhere they went. During their rampage, they spotted a puppy calling out for help. They harassed its owner, freed it, and welcomed it into the pack. Unfortunately, the new recruit was quickly flattened by a car, followed by Bull himself being struck by Honey's owner's vehicle. Seizing the moment, Bull tried to confess his feelings to Honey, but the car sped off before he could speak. Heartbroken, he fell into despair, sharing his sorrow with his pack. They reminded him to fight for those he loved. Inspired, he rushed with them to the dog show. At the entrance, they watched the elegant contestants march in while wondering how to bypass security. Thanks to Fetch's idea, they disguised themselves as a human and, though wobbly at first, managed to sneak inside. In the preparation area, they searched for Honey, but found nothing. Then, Bull heard the announcer call Honey to the stage. He rushed backstage, only to find Sterling and his crew performing instead. As his hope dwindled, Honey was finally called out and crowned Best Female Breed. Seeing her shine beside Sterling crushed Bull, convincing him she would never want someone like him. Yet, in that moment, Honey realized she didn't want to conform to everyone's expectations. Different was better. Spotting Bull in the crowd, she had a revelation. Meanwhile, Rocco was mistaken for a contestant and dragged onto the stage. When the judge grabbed his sensitive parts, Rocco started a riot. Chaos erupted, but Honey still searched for Bull. He, however, slipped out with his pack, admitting he was done trying. Soon after, they overheard gossip about a notorious dog brothel and decided to follow the crowd there. What they saw left them stunned. Dogs indulging in outrageous acts. A female resembling Honey approached Bull, scaring him until Rocco revealed his inexperience. She introduced herself as Molasses and lured Bull to a private spot. There, she waited for him seductively, but Bull couldn't go through with it. His thoughts were consumed by Honey. Molasses tricked him into scratching her back just as Honey walked in. Witnessing the scene with heartbreak, Bull tried to pull away, but she clung to him. Honey left in tears. Suddenly, the police raided the brothel. The dogs scattered, but Bull and Honey were caught along with his pack and hauled off to the animal shelter, a grim place filled with vicious strays. Each was locked in separate cells. The next day, Honey's owners arrived, mentioning her upcoming playdate with Sterling. Bull devised a plan and rallied the others. Soon, the dogs staged a riot. When officers arrived, they were drenched by a coordinated spray of urine. Amid the chaos, Bull grabbed the keys and tossed them to Fetch, who freed everyone. A massive street rampage followed, but Bull and his pack raced to the park to stop Honey's encounter with Sterling. Along the way, Bull saw a missing poster his owners had put up for him. Realizing they truly loved and missed him, they reached the park, just as Sterling prepared to mount Honey. At the last second, Bull leapt on top of her, causing Sterling to mistakenly thrust into him. In that painful, humiliating moment, Bull broke down and confessed his love for Honey. Sterling eventually finished.
Oh, Sterling! Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, Sterling.
And Bull quietly slipped away.
That was interesting. You're very tight. Or probably I'm so large. I hope my girth didn't hurt much. Not that I care. Okay, bye.
Shaken by the horror of the experience, his owners joyfully welcomed him back and promised not to take his balls after all. Later, Honey showed up at his door. They went outside, where she reciprocated his feelings. Finally, in a tender moment, they made love, bringing the tale to its end. And that's how the story wraps up. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to subscribe for more. Until next time, so what did you think of this movie? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more movie stories. See you next time.
I can't figure it out. There's no way those could be mine. I mean, maybe it's something I ate that day.